Our scripture lesson today is from the Gospel of St. John, chapter 6, verse 25 through 35, starting with verse 25. When they found him on the other side of the sea, they said to him, "Rabbi, when did you come here?" Jesus answered them, "Very truly I tell you, you are looking for me not because you saw signs, but because you ate your fill of the loaves. But listen, do not work for the food that perishes, but for the food that endures eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. For it is on him that the God the Father has set his seal." Then they said to him, "What must we do then to perform the works of God?" Jesus answered them, "This is the work of God, that you believe in him who has sent." So they said to him, "What sign are you going to give us then, so that we may see it and believe you? What work are you performing? See, our ancestors ate the manna in the wilderness, as it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat." Then Jesus said to them, "Very truly, I tell you, it was not Moses who gave you the bread from heaven, but it was my Father who gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is that which comes down from heaven and gives life to the world." They said to him, "Sir, give us the bread always." Jesus said to them, "But I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God.
Know that on a day like today, there are many who decided not to venture out in the weather and are viewing it on television. And that's one of the real great things about, I think, one of the many things that are great about this church, being able to have the services here. And I usually don't address folks who are at home, but I'm going to take just a minute to do so. Might be helpful for us. You could help us as a congregation. If you're watching at home, if you'd call the church at 224-3220, and then my extension is 101, and just call and leave a message that 3320. I said the wrong one. 224-3320. Yeah, don't call that other one. Someone will get mad at you. But then dial 101, which is my extension, and just leave a note on there that you watched the service today. That might be a way for us to just kind of know how effective we are in reaching people. So I appreciate if you could do that for us. In Kenya, whoops, I got to turn this on before it'll work. In Kenya, every morning, a lion wakes up hungry. And at the same time, every morning, a gazelle wakes up hungry. And they both are hoping that they will have enough energy in the day to be able to outrun the other. If the lion has enough energy to outrun the other, he gets dinner. If the gazelle has enough energy to outrun the lion, then the lion, well, will have to go without a meal. So each of us in our own lives are kind of the same way. We wake up with a sense of hunger. In fact, if you woke up hungry this morning and you made it to church, you really don't have a reason to be hungry right now because we had a great breakfast. There was more than enough food. It was fabulous. Great time that we shared in fellowship here. But we know the hunger that's a part of our lives. Hunger is such a deep part of our lives that we know we experience it. Something all of us experience, no matter who we are in life, no matter what station we are. Some experience it more deeply and fundamentally than others. Hunger that is at the core of who we are. In fact, I had a friend who grew up in Anadarko, and his family was very poor. He often wondered where he would find food to eat. And even after he was doing well in life, a professional, he was a pastor, in the Methodist church, and he said every time I would go to a buffet in the restaurant, or every time we would have one of those church-covered dinners where there'd be all those plates, he said I could not help myself. I would fill the plate till it was more than I could really eat. He said it was something that he wrestled with his whole life long because he had grown up so hungry. And he just, out of instinct, would fill the plate up till it was more than he could possibly eat. Certainly more than any of us needed to eat. You know what that sense of hunger is like. Jesus is talking with a group of disciples and followers, and they're talking about bread. And Jesus is saying, well, you're hungry, and now you come because you ate all that you could before, and now you're hungry again, and so here you are. But he says, I want you to know there's more bread that I have to offer. And he leaves the conversation kind of confused. Or is he talking about hunger, or is he talking about something else? Is he talking about a physical hunger of the body, or is he talking about a spiritual hunger of the heart and of the soul? It's interesting because Christ seemed to want to reach out to wherever that need might be in our lives. When people were hungry, he was interested in giving them food. And when the hunger was deeper in a spiritual sense or place of their life, he was constantly trying to fill that spiritual hunger and need that was there. Jesus provides for both in his ministry, reaching out to us. Was talking earlier over breakfast, and Bob Hayes reminded me of the story of the pastor who came to the church, and he was ready to give the service, and it was one of those snowy days, and only one rancher came in. And the one rancher was there, it was not the usual crowd, and so the pastor went in on the service, and man, he preached the sermon, and it was a great sermon. It was the sermon he had been working on all week long, and then when they got to the end of the service, the rancher came up to him and said, well, thank you for the service. And he says, well, I wasn't sure, but since you were here, I just, would, give the whole service. And he said, well, I appreciate that, but, when in my business, ranching, if I go out to feed the cattle on a day like this and they don't all come, I don't give one just the whole load, But maybe if you're here, you're here because there's a deep spiritual hunger. Shirley wanted me to copy the outline of the sermon. Just we'll pass it out and have it covered that way. But I'll go somewhere in between, I'll kind of hit the highlights and we'll move through. I want to tell you, as this season of time of Thanksgiving, where we're able to celebrate so much in our lives that we truly are thankful for. And when we talk about it, while we feed ourselves on foods that are good and rich and wonderful, in a sense it's about celebrating that God has met the hungers of our life in a way that's deeper than just providing for our need. And what I want to do is to tell you some of the things that I'm thankful for. In fact, some of the reasons that I'm thankful to be here as your pastor. We have so much in our lives that we should be thankful for. It really should be more than a day, shouldn't it? It's my favorite of all holidays because it seems pure that it's about giving thanks for so much that we have in our lives. There are lots of great things. Christmas is wonderful, but there are also these other things that kind of surround it. It seems in a way, if there's one kind of pure holiday we hold to, it's still Thanksgiving. No matter how much they open the stores, we don't have to go to them. They can open them as much as they want, but if we don't want to go, we don't have to go. And we can celebrate with thanksgiving in our heart on that day and give thanks. And I want to tell you how proud I am to be your pastor, because Epworth is an amazing church. First, I think, is that this is a church that's got its heart right. It's full of people who have their heart right and are wanting to do the right thing. And it's evident. It's evident in everything that happens in the life of this church. It's evident in the care that's given, in the support, in the love that's shown, in the fellowship, through Sunday school classes, through the neighborhood life groups, in the care for the kids and the children's programming and youth that we have. It's evident that this church has its heart right. One of the ways that I'm thankful to you for sharing what was deep in your heart is your kind of consistent urging, prodding, if you will, for Angie and I to participate in the walk to Emmaus. And that was an amazing thing. It was great. But the thing that touched me most was how much it had meant to so many of you and how much you wanted us to share that experience with you. And that was the most powerful thing about it. And to know that you as a church wanted us to know what was at your heart. And so we did that and participated, and that was a fabulous thing. I give thanks that as a church, we have so many things right. Great people, a lot of great programs, and a great staff. It's a joy to work with folks who care so much and so deeply about the life of the church. It just makes it fun. And that's something that I'm joyful about. It's a little lighter sermon than others, but I wanted you to know this. I want you to know this. The other thing is that Epworth, I think, is a church that I talked to a few folks who are in the horse business. I don't know a whole lot about horses, except I can see beauty in structure and how they're built. And folks who are in the horse business, they'll tell you a young colt you can look at and you can see the horse that will be. When you look at the young colt, you can see they've got good bones. They've got the frame to build something that's going to work for years and have beauty in its life. I can see it when I see it. I can't tell you all the details of it, except something you probably don't know about me is I used to show dogs. And in the dog world, it's a little different, but in the dog world, it's the same thing. You can see in a young pup the structure of what's going to make a champion. Now, this is our youngest dog many months ago. Her name is Ray, and took the name. Her name is actually, Marchwind is the kennel name that we got her from, but got that do re mi. And I don't know if any of you remember that old song from, who is it? Yeah, if you ain't got that do re mi. So we decided to turn that around. If you got that do re mi. So Ray is the pup, but structurally, I look at her. I mean, she's a lot of fun. She is the character of our dogs, but she's got a grace and a beauty. She's an Italian Greyhound, by the way, so she never gets very big, tiny little thing. But you can see it. You can see the potential that's there. And whenever I look at Epworth and I look at its life, I see a church poised and ready. I see a church that's ready to step forward in ways that are asked, in ways that this church is just ready to blossom and grow. In the last 4 or 5 months, we've seen our average worship. Last year, our average worship attendance was 182. And we've seen in the last 3 months, we've been averaging about 220 in worship. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing growth. And I think it's because people are coming with the heart for worship. They're coming to worship and to experience and know that God's ready and here to meet us. And when that happens, it connects with us, it gives energy, it gives momentum to the congregation. And that's a beautiful thing. I see us as a church poised and ready to continue to grow and to reach out and to welcome others into the love that we hold in our hearts that God has brought there, for people to come to know who Christ is. And we as a church, I'd see a church with good bones, so ready to move forward, so ready to embrace all it is that God is leading us into. You know, sometimes to introduce a difference in worship style with a band can be a controversial thing in a church. It's been nothing but embraced in the life of this congregation. And as we begin to find ways to help us express the worship that's in our heart, it's so positive. As a church, one of the amazing things as well is that we have strength and stability side by side with youth and vitality. Both present, both there. I know Garrett's worked hard over the last few years to build a strong and solid youth and children's program, and you see it in the life of our church. If you were here last week and all those kids were up here singing, I mean, that was amazing. Along with the strength and stability that this congregation has been known for years. Those two pieces, when you've got strength and stability that's there, when you've got youth and vitality, you've got energy, you've got momentum, everything is there. And God is at work in the life of this church, ready to do so much more. It's amazing. As a church, I see us as a strong team. When I see that image that's there, that's about strength. That's about who we are working together in teamwork. God offers us so much in the life of this church. If I went through the list, well, surely I could make it a long service of all the things that are going on and are here to be thankful for. But I'm thankful most is that the people of this church have a heart for God, have a heart for being about what Christ is about in the world. And this is our Stewardship Sunday, Sunday where we share our commitment to help support the life of the church over the coming year. And many of you have received those cards in the mail. You've had a chance to fill those out. Maybe you forgot to bring yours, and in all the bulletins are copies of those. Maybe you hadn't really had a chance to think about it too much, about what you understand your commitment to be for the coming year. What we're going to do here in a few moments is that for those who are ready to do so, and I hope that'll be most of us, that you've had a chance to prepare your commitment card. And when we sing the next hymn, I want to give you a chance, an opportunity to bring those forward and to place them on the communion rail, to let that be an act of worship, a way of offering yourself to God during the course of the coming year. And as we do so, it's not just us offering up our lives to God, but it's us as a church offering up our church to God. God, take Epworth this coming year and use us. Use us to reach out and to transform people's lives for Christ. That's our prayer for the coming year. God, use us as a church in whatever way you see fit to bring others to know your love more fully. When we share in such thanksgiving, when we share the gifts of our life with God and through the church, God multiplies it, and God does amazing things in the life of the church. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for your support, your presence in the church. There hadn't been a time I've asked anything of anybody that I've gotten a no, and that's remarkable. I want to thank you as I've been trying to get to know you as a congregation for welcoming me into your home and get to share in those conversations that help us know each other and help us as a congregation move forward. We still haven't done that. I still am available too if you want to give me a call, and we'll set that up. But as we take a minute to get ourselves ready for that hymn and to bring our gifts forward, I'm also aware that Thanksgiving can be a stressful time. as families get together. So here's a little video vignette that maybe will help prepare you for being in the right mind in your own family celebrations for Thanksgiving. Whoop.
It's Thanksgiving at our house and I'm singing a tune.
I'm cooking in the kitchen, it's what I always have to do. I'm raising 3 crazy kids and feeling twice my age.
I'm reading the paper, it's how I disengage.
I'm brand new to this family, I'm not all that well known.
I really wish everyone would put down their phone. Hey guys, could you put down your phones and say hi to Eric, please?
Hey guys, haven't seen you since the wedding, and I'm just really grateful to be a part of this fam.
I really like football, but not so much people.
We stress about this day because we are dysfunctional.
The food is finally ready, it's exactly 12 o'clock.
And there's nothing more to do, so I guess we have to talk.
So where's the gravy?
You know what? There's not gravy this year.
Why not?
Kitchen long enough,
On this Thanksgiving, we thank God for family. On this Thanksgiving, we thank God for family. On this
I think she's right, why do we fight?
Thanksgiving,
It's not just you, it's my sin too. We're family, and that's enough. It's crazy how we sweat the small stuff. We have our flaws, more than a few. I feel at home cause my family's got them too. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. So on this day, we thank our King for family and a happy Thanksgiving.
So, who wants to?